I'm Katharine Woodman-Maynard. I'm a graphic designer and graphic novelist. I'm based in Concord, New Hampshire.
You moved here just recently, a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, 2.5 years. I was in San Francisco for 5 years. We were a year in Maine, and then we were here.
Where do you think your love for graphic design came from?
I think my love for art definitely came first, and illustration and animation, and then once I learned more about design, I just, it makes your art look a lot better, and it's a type of art in itself.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, I bring a lot from the graphic design into my art and the art into the graphic design, so it just melds really well.
How would you describe your art style?
I think the style that I use the most, it looks like woodcuts or lino cuts, but I actually do it in Photoshop or Clip Paint Studio. And I erase a lot when I draw, and that gives the effect of a woodcut. And that's the style that I sell on my Etsy store, Maywoodart. And it's also, I designed a line of greeting cards for Saturn Press, which is the big letterpress greeting card company, and it's in that style as well.
Who or what inspires you in your career?
Who or what inspires me? I think I'm inspired by a lot of the writers who I read as a kid, like I was talking about before, like Robin McKinley is a big one. Mm-hmm. And in my graphic novel, that's sort of what inspires me. I'm inspired in terms of graphic design a lot by actually interior design. That is an area where I see a lot of interesting things in terms of color palette and patterns and different things. And then in terms of like work ethic, there's this writer, Steven Pressfield, who wrote this wonderful book called The War of Art, and that's probably been the biggest influence on my life. And he's all about kind of making art as being a war and being super disciplined and treating it like you're a professional, not an amateur. And he's got this whole kind of philosophy around it, but it's worked really well for how I kind of work and think, kind of more the warrior attitude.
I actually noticed, I saw it on your Instagram first, but your app Laughable, doing really good in the App Store, I noticed. Well, not your app.
Not mine.
Not yours. You did the
logo
for it. How does seeing your work on something like that make you feel?
Yeah, I love seeing my work like out in the world, and Laughable app, which is a comedy podcast app, has been doing really well, and that's so exciting. And they're like a really cool company. But even like I designed some hats like for a local, like my friend is the coach of a cross country skiing team for kids, and I designed their like hats for the Bill Koch League. And I see little kids around town in the hats. And it's awesome. Like super exciting. And like my greeting cards are in paper source, and that's like so exciting to see. Or like in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, like my friend will take photos because they're in their museum store, not in the museum. But it's so exciting to see.
How is it actually having your studio right here at home?
I really like it. I think it's taken me a while to get used to it, probably a couple of years. Like after I graduated from college, it was hard, the adjustment from being around people so often to then being by myself so much. And now I'm by myself so much that I'm more like, when I'm around people, I'm like, oh, people. So I've gotten really used to it. Yeah. But I really like it because I have a very specific method of working, and I work in 25-minute increments with 5-minute breaks, where I stand up and walk around and or like, do push-ups or curl-ups or, do the dishes or whatever. And in an office, that's a lot more awkward when you're like, she gets up to go to the bathroom like a lot. And so I like being able to work from home to do that. And and I like to be able to control my environment.
Did you actually go to art school or any kind of?
Nope, I just went to a liberal arts. I went to Harvard. And I did animation there. Yeah, I loved it. It was great. It was like art is not their focus. Yeah. And so I felt like I was able to get a lot of attention, and they have really good resources, and I had really great instructors.
What so far actually has been one of your greatest achievements?
It's definitely been completing the full all the pencil drawings of my 372 page graphic novel, because that just so much planning, so much kind of organization and just work went into it. So that was definitely feels like the biggest achievement.
What advice do you have for someone trying to make their dream their job?
Their dream their job. I think don't let people tell you that you can't make a living doing it, because it really bothers me that that's kind of the dialogue in our society about being an artist. And I think you have to figure out creative ways to do it. Like, I have multiple sources of income, you know, like from greeting cards or from graphic design or from other, you know, kind of just like various like royalties from designs I've done. So you have to think more creatively, but I don't think that you can't do it. I know you can. So that's one of the things, like, don't let people tell you that you can't. And then the other thing is sort of be a professional with what you do. Like, you know, have business cards, respond to emails, you know, these sort of basic things, like, you know, have a website, like, treat it, whatever you're doing, as a job, even if you're not getting paid yet. Because I think the way to get paid is to, you know, treat it like a job.
I feel like that's where people get scared. They're like, how am I going to get an income while I do this? And
yeah, and it's a real fear, but I think you have to do the thing in order to begin getting paid for it.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you so much for
it was great.
Today.
Great talking to you too. Awesome. And I'll put a plug for myself in there that you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My handle is @Woodman-Maynard. So @WOODMANMAYNARD, because that's my last name that I was born with. So Katharine Woodman-Maynard.
I love it.
Awesome.